Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a glorious day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are committed to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And today, I want to talk about this whole thing that America has going now, because the last bastion of trying to make black people feel inferior are these stupid ass test scores. And I'm saying, stop playing games with the brains of black students and black people. Stop playing with us. Now, they had the whole thing about affirmative action going with the Asians, and all black students were getting into school without being qualified. And that's a lie too, because those students that are getting into those Ivy League schools do have the qualifications. But this is something that America has going, and they keep going. That's the one thing they think they can beat black people at, taking tests. They struck down affirmative action, and I think the white people thought black people were going to be in the streets crying for affirmative action. It didn't happen. And then the Asians got choked because they thought they were going to get so many more slots in those Ivy League schools that they want to go to, and they found out, they messed around and found out that you're going to get the same thing you've been getting or less. I spent part of the day looking up articles about cheating and the way the Asians and white kids cheat on those standardized tests. And they've blown those tests up to be something really big. And the only reason for that is to try to keep black students out and try to make it seem like everybody is smarter than black people, which is nothing but a lie. We have all kinds of proof. Everything that's considered smart, black people do, even down to designing cars. I was shocked when I came across an article of black people who have designed some of the most popular cars in the United States. I'll do a video about that one day. But they take the smallest thing and try to say, oh, you're not smart enough to do this. Back in the day, when black people entered Major League Baseball, most of those players were playing in what's called the outfield. White players played in the infield, and that's where all the smart people were supposed to be. The pitcher would be white, the catcher would be white, the first, second, and third baseman would be white. Because you know what they were saying? Oh, black people can't pitch. They can't pitch. You have to be able to think to be a pitcher. You can't pitch. And black pitchers came in and blew that out of the water, one after the other. Satchel Paige was one of the best pitchers that ever pitched in a baseball game. But he had to play in the Negro Leagues because of discrimination. Because white men didn't want to compete with the black men. But what happened was that baseball got to be so popular with black people, and it was making money because black people were going to those games. And then what happens? Then the white people decide, oh, we need to integrate Major League Baseball. And so that was the end of the Negro Leagues. But that was a very important part of black American history, the Negro Leagues. They formed their own leagues, and they were making money, and they were the best players. And they got in Major League Baseball and proved what they could do, and proved to them that we can play this game not only as well as you, we can play this game better than you. And then when it moved over to football, it was all about the quarterback. The quarterback. Black players can't be quarterbacks because you got to think. You got to think to be the quarterback. And then the quarterbacks started blowing them out of the water. And now every other college and professional football team has one or two black quarterbacks. So that turned out to be a lie. But this is a part of the indoctrination and propaganda. It's a part of the ongoing lies that's being told in America to try and make black people feel intellectually inferior. But when the rubber meets the road and they have to divvy up and tell the truth about what black people have invented and designed and written, they don't want to tell the truth about it. They don't want to tell the truth about it. And this is something that infuriates me. This came out in 2020. 3 black geniuses with the highest IQs ever in the world. These children are called geniuses. They have the highest IQ of anybody in the world. One of them surpassed Bill Gates and Einstein and somebody else. One of them lives in the UK, one is African, and the other little girl lives in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States. But see, that pretty much covers black people, right? They won't talk about that. They won't even talk about the woman that I just did a video on who had discovered the cure for cancer. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the fact that a black person invented the GPS system. Now they say, oh no, it was invented by somebody named Easton. No, that's not true. The technology behind the GPS system is called the satellite geodesy. And Dr. Gladys West developed the satellite geodesy. The satellite geodesy determines the shape and dimensions of the planet and precisely measures the satellites. It's very involved. And she has all of her models. She has everything that she did written and copywritten because she knew that if she didn't document what she did, somebody else was going to take credit for what she did, just like they're trying to do. But she is the brains behind the GPS. And without the satellite geodesy, where the GPS is concerned, all you really have is a glorified compass. And if you would listen to Americans talk, and you know who I'm talking about, you would think that passing one of these stupid tests is more important than inventing something. When you invent something, you have to create something in your mind. Then you have to draw a picture of it. Then you have to test it to see if it works. After which you've got to draw diagrams and write the whole thing up to take to the patent office, because they have to see what you did from beginning to end. And then it has to work. This is what's infuriating. Every time I go into the archives and look for inventors, I come up with something different that a black person has invented. Many of the things that we're using in our everyday lives were invented by black people, but you will never hear it from Americans. You will never hear it from Americans. So I've been looking up cheating, students cheating on college entrance exams, because that's what they're talking about. They're only focused on these college entrance exams and what black people don't make on those tests. And I go to the ETS service, Educational Testing Service, because they're the best at it. According to the Educational Testing Service, ETS, back in the 1940s, only 20% of college students admitted to cheating. However, in recent times, the percentage has skyrocketed to 75 to 98%. This alarming increase highlights the prevalence of academic dishonesty in educational institutions. Okay, so from 1940, 20% cheating. Everybody wasn't going to college. Really, the people who really needed to be going were going. Now it's up to 98%. So basically everybody is cheating. So the bottom line is that colleges have realized that just relying on standardized test scores is not a good predictor of how students are going to do in college. They say, how do you do in your high school work plus your standardized test scores? Those are the best indicators of how you're going to do in college. But even with those, there's cheating. There's cheating at every level. And Asians are as much a part of it as white people. Black kids probably cheat the least, because black kids don't have the money to go to those college prep classes. They don't have the means for doing all these different things. Those kids have paying people to come to the testing site to take the test for them. Some of them are doing that. And some of them are having people working in these testing sites, giving them answers or prompting them with those tests and with testing information. So you can't get around it. If people want to cheat, they're going to cheat. But the thing about it, trying to set these people up as being so intelligent when they're not, is unfair to other communities like black students. And so I'm just going to say that black Americans probably have as good a handle on what's going on as anybody. There's nothing wrong with our students' brains. And I wouldn't want an environment where you're teaching your children that all that matters in life is a test score. I just don't think that's healthy mentally, and it's not good for a child emotionally for you to bank everything on what they make on a test to get in a certain school where they're going to come out of school and not do any better than anybody else in society. It's unfair to the student, but it's unfair for America to keep telling these lies and pushing all this phony stuff on students, trying to make themselves look smarter than what they are. That's what I say. But I'll end with this. Certain black students do not need to be in these public schools. Some of these black students are doing fine, but black people need to provide an alternative for black students, because we're not going to see any improvement as long as they're in these public schools where people are not expecting them to do anything. That's what we don't want to really deal with in black America. We are making a mistake by depending on our adversaries to teach our children. Some of these black children do well in public school, but when your child is smart when they leave home and then they spend 2 or 3 years in public school and now they're dumb, there's something wrong. If you thought your child was smart when he or she was 5 years old, you were right. And then they have a non-black teacher from the time they hit pre-K, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, and then they get to 3rd grade, and the 3rd grade teacher says he can't read. What happened? That's something that we've got to talk about, because it's not just the school, it's also the home. But my point is, there's nothing wrong with the brains of black children or black people. This is the last straw for people claiming to be something that they're not. But they're going to continue to do this until we challenge them and say, prove it. Prove you're smarter than I am. And all they're going to have to show for it is a test that they cheated on. Okay, y'all, that's what I got to say about that. But what say you? Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.